Hi, I'm Gary from Revnyou Real Estate Education, and this is video number 6 of our 8-part series for the Canadian Real Estate Network, which is by investors for investors. So this video is about finding money, and we're going to do that in 2 parts. So this one, video 6 is part 1, and we're talking about the areas where you can find some money, and then in part 2, which is another video, we're going to talk about where to find the people that may have some money. So in this video, what we want to do is just give you an insight into some places where you have access. I know we talked previously in one of our other videos about the power of taking action. Well, lots of people come up with excuses to not take action. And one of the excuses we hear all the time is, I don't have the money to invest in real estate. So this is just, we're going to give you a list of some places where you can perhaps look for traditional lending and perhaps non-traditional, and perhaps some things that you may never even have thought about. So in this first one, traditional lending. Now, when we talk about traditional lending, we are talking about the banks, the high street banks, the credit unions, these very A-type lenders that they're called. Now, these A-type lenders, they look at you specifically. They're looking at your income, your debt to service ratio, and they're taking you personally into account. And then they'll decide if they want to lend what is traditionally like the mortgage. If you're on your own home, this is normally the traditional way of financing that home. Now, mortgage brokers as well will do traditional lending, and if I was to give a tip right now, I would say actually get a good mortgage broker on your team. Get a mortgage broker that understands investing and invests in real estate themselves. Because then they will think like a real estate investor and they'll understand the game that we're about to enter, which is the game of real estate, monopoly in real life. Now, a mortgage broker also has the ability to shop around different banks. If you walk into your traditional lender, and you go to your bank that you've banked with for 20 years and they know everything about you, they'll only offer you their products. A mortgage broker will give you an array of products. And sometimes when you're getting lending, it's not necessarily the lowest rate that's the best. It's whatever the best terms are for what you're trying to achieve. So, a lot of people just shop and look for the cheapest rate possible. And that's not always the best to get into, especially when you're getting into investment real estate. But finding money, that's traditional. In non-traditional methods, you've got private money lenders. So private money lenders are people that have capital and they will lend you as a mortgage their private money, and usually you'll pay a higher interest rate for that. But when you're making the great returns that real estate can offer you that we talked in the previous video, you'll understand that paying a little bit more to have access to capital is okay. That's okay, because you're still going to make money on that. Rsp Mortgages is another one that a lot of people are unaware that's even possible. So you can actually get your friends' RRSPs and get them to give you a first or second mortgage on a property that you are trying to buy. You can discuss the terms. There's ways of doing this. Now, we do have a video on YouTube that goes a bit more in depth about this, so I don't want to go into depth about each one. I just want to give you some of the things that are possible and available to you to look in that direction, because a lot of times we don't know what we don't know. So Rsp Mortgage is another one, MIX, which is a mortgage investment corporation. A lot of those will actually lend money to investors, and you got to find the ones that will. So it takes a bit of research, and you want to do diligence on the fund itself. And then they will lend you money. And again, it's usually a higher rate. You might be paying 8-9% for some of these non-traditional lending. And they'll lend, up to a certain loan to value amount of the house. So if you're getting a great deal on a house and you need to borrow maybe 60% loan to value, then a lot of these MICs will lend you that kind of mortgage, and you've got your down payment or a decent down payment. Friends and family. A lot of people don't even think of their friends and family. That's 6 degrees of separation. In your social circle, there is probably access to capital that you are unaware that is available there. Now, equity out of real estate. So for example, in our town here where we invest, it's went up in the last 2 years, way over 20% a year. Now, on a $300,000 house at 20%, that's $60,000 equity just got created per year. So let's say 100 grand got created a year. Now, with our friends and family, where this equities went up in the house, they're like, yeah, I've got an extra $100,000 of equity in my house. But what they don't account for is that the hydro went up, their taxes went up, their insurance went up, all these bills went up. So even though they've got this extra money over here, their bills went up, but this extra money isn't helping pay for that. It's sitting there doing nothing. So their monthly expenses have increased, but their income, even though they've got this equity possible, it's not helping anything. So you can go in and help solve a problem like this and say, hey, you know what? If you take this equity and borrow it, let's say they get a line of credit at 5-6%, but you can make them 10, 15, 20, 25% return on that money. You can now give them a good return on the money, and you now have the access to the capital to get into a house. And it's also helping them pay their bills. So you're actually solving problems by finding that money and then taking it over here and putting it to work and then giving them money back, which is helping solve some of their problems. So you're actually a solution-based person now. You're helping, you're part of the solution, you're not part of the problem of these increased debts that they're getting on this side, or increased expenses, sorry, not debts. Savings. A lot of people have savings sitting in an account earning 1%, if they're lucky, 2%, 3%, if they're lucky. Now, they might take those savings and instead of sitting earning 1%, 2%, again, move it into a real estate investment with you, and then they might make 10, 12, 15%. They might be happy with 10, 12%. And if you're making 25% on that, you're going to pocket that spread and you're going to make money there as well. And lots of people have savings. There are lots and lots of people have savings. Cash from stocks and shares. So a lot of people who invest in stocks and shares, and this is one of my partners in real estate, we've got over 10 rentals together. And he had his money in stocks and shares, but he looked at his return, and we were looking at it in probably 2012, 2013, around then. When we looked at his annual return for the last 12, 15 years, now yes, it went through that dip in that time, it was like 4%. He was making 4% with a medium risk portfolio. He was making 4%. Now yes, there's some years it did great, but then when it dropped, and then it, some of it came back up, but when we annualized it over the time, his return was atrocious. So he was happy to move his stocks and shares that were not RSPs, they weren't registered for, non-registered, move them into a cash position, take them out, and then invest in real estate with myself and our company. So lots of people are willing to do that, especially when you can help show them, what have your returns been for the last 10, 15 years? And then you can show them, if you'd put that exact same amount of money into a house 15 years ago, and then get the data. Here's what the house was worth. Here's what it would be worth today. And if the mortgage was here, here's how much principal will get paid down. And add those two together. Now you're showing them real returns on their money. Another one is, what if you've got friends and family that might only have $5,000, $10,000? How about you get together and pool that money together? You can pool money together, and now you've got your deposit for a house. They might just be lending it to you. You might have to, you got papers that you can write up with your legal and your notary publics and your lawyers and stuff. Write it up so it's all legal and above board and everyone's protected. And then pull that money together and go and buy a house, or use it as the deposit on a house. There's lots of people unaware of how to. Now, by watching these videos and obviously going through some of these programs and getting educated, you're looking at how to. So now you're going to have the knowledge and someone else may have the money. Now you can combine those two, and now you've got a successful real estate venture that you're going in. Now, as we mentioned the word venture, I'll save this one to last. It's my favorite. Joint ventures. You have the time or the knowledge and the skill set to help put this deal together, and you understand how to use real estate to make money. You have someone over here that may not have the time or the interest in even learning how to do it, but they have the money. But they know that they want the returns from real estate, but they don't want to do real estate. So you can join together, create a joint venture agreement. And again, contact us. We can give you joint venture agreements that we have and what we've used before. We're happy to share this. It's not proprietary information. We're willing to share what we have and what we've done. Again, you'll need to take these to your own lawyers and notaries just to check that it suits the purpose that you are using it for and your joint ventures are using it for. And then get the joint venture money. And joint ventures is an unlimited pool, because there is always somebody out there that doesn't have the time or the skills to invest in real estate but wants to. And if you've got the skills and the knowledge, then you can put that together and create that joint venture. So here's a quick recap of what we've got for finding money. You've got banks, credit unions in traditional lending. You've got your mortgage brokers who will also help you get access to capital. You've got private money lenders, Rsp Mortgages, mortgage investment corporations, equity out of properties, people's savings, cash from stocks and bonds that people cash out and move into a cash position. You can pool your money together to invest in it and to help people get better returns on the money rather than it just sitting in a couple of percent or at max in an account. And then finally, you've got your joint venture partners that will come in and bring the money to the deal to work with you to get a return in real estate. So there's an access. This is video number 6 for the Canadian Real Estate Network for investors by investors. And I'm Gary from Revnyou Real Estate Education. If you've got any comments, please leave a comment below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to contact us, you've got any questions, please contact me, Gary@revnyou.com. We'd be glad to help answer any of your questions. And we look forward to seeing you in the next video, video number 7 on Finding Money Part 2.